Hi everyone, Coach Emma here from Aspire. I would like to speak today about diets and why I believe that diets just don't work in the long term. So one of the reasons why I don't believe that diets work is because they usually tend to restrict or eliminate certain food types. Now, the problem with this is that when we are having a craving for a certain food, but our diet that we're currently on isn't allowing that food into our daily nutrition and we restrict ourselves, the more that we do that, the stronger that the craving is going to get initially. There is a certain point where, after a while, those cravings will get easier, absolutely, but in the short term, they can be quite intense. And so continuing to restrict and eliminate that food just builds up that craving. It gets more and more intense. And then what happens here is that quite often it can be very difficult to then stick to your plan. And so this can end up resulting in what we would call a binge. So let's say you have a bit of a craving for some chocolate, just a bar of chocolate, and you restrict yourself from having this whilst you're dieting. That craving gets more and more and more, or perhaps you come to the end of your diet and now that craving is so intense, or that desire to have that chocolate is so intense that instead of just having one bar, it can end up being a binge, and you can end up having 2 bars or 4 bars or however that's going to end up. So restriction and elimination from a diet can sometimes trigger negative relationships with food and also trigger binges. Another reason why I don't believe that diets work is because they tend to, again, similar with restriction, fight or ignore cravings. This can be an issue because actually your body is extremely clever at letting you know when there is a nutritional deficiency. For example, when you're craving really salty foods, sometimes this can be connected to a requirement for more carbohydrates. Perhaps your blood glucose levels are low. Sometimes you might crave things like sweet oranges or fruit. Again, this could be the body telling you, not always, but sometimes. And so it's really important to be able to understand and connect to things like cravings. Another reason why I don't think that they work is because they tend to categorize bad or good, healthy or unhealthy when it comes to food. But the truth is there is no good or bad food. There is no healthy or unhealthy food. The food is not the problem with regards to why people want to diet or losing weight or gaining weight. It is how that food is managed by you personally. So this is where there is a problem. And again, the good and the bad and the healthy and the unhealthy can create bad relationships with food also, because then we start to categorize certain foods like fried foods or cakes, sweet treats, things like this, carbohydrates, as being a bad food, where that's just not the case. Another reason for diets not working is that they can put additional pressure on social events, dinners out with friends, meals with colleagues, drinks at the weekends. Because usually when you're on a diet, or when most people are dieting, they're being very mindful of the types of food that they're eating, and perhaps some social events are not going to be able to cater for this. So this can mean that you're going to turn down social events and miss out on that quality of life, that part of life that's really important, being able to socialize with people and connect with people. And food out and dinners can definitely play a part in this. And then the next reason why is because I believe that diets also tend to then make us view food as being either a reward or a guilt. So just as an example, let's say you've been on a diet and again eliminating certain foods, and you've done really great for a week, And then it gets to the weekend and you say, do you know what, I've had a great week, I'm going to reward myself with a treat. And then the opposite to that is if you've been doing really well throughout the week and you get to the weekend and you have your treat, and then you start to feel guilty because you haven't stuck to the plan over the weekend. So it definitely creates this reward versus guilt, which shouldn't be the case at all with anything. Everything can be enjoyed in moderation and in balance, which brings me on to my 3 tips or advice for things that you can do instead of going on a diet. Finding balance, like I just mentioned then, everything in moderation. There is no need to eliminate or restrict yourself from a certain type of food unless it's for medical reasons. You can enjoy everything. You can have your cake and eat it. But in moderation, because if you're doing that every single day, then yeah, let's get real. Of course, you're going to struggle to hit your goals. So having a balance of everything, but in moderation, managing it well. The next thing is to be able to tune in to your body. This is really, really key. If you can do this, there will never be a requirement for you to diet ever. What I mean by this is to understand and to identify your hunger, your fullness, and your deficiencies. So listening to your body, like I said, your body is extremely clever at being able to make you aware of when you're full, when you need some more food, and when you're potentially in a nutritional deficiency. So it's really learning how to understand and identify what those cues are. And then the third one is to refocus. And by that I mean to come away from this focus on how many calories is in a certain food and to think more about the nourishment of the food. Like what nourishment can that food provide for you? Thinking about the vitamins and the minerals and the micronutrients that are within that food. How can they benefit your body? Placing a focus more on nourishment rather than calories, that's going to help again for you to steer away from the diet culture and to be able to enjoy food in a way that is going to be optimal for your body. All right, I hope that has helped clear a few things up. If anyone has any questions, of course, drop a comment below, and happy to chat with anyone further about this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.